Welcome to the luxurious Atlantis resort on Paradise Island, which has been the home to one of the greatest spectacles in the world of poker. The 2011 PokerStars Caribbean Adventure brought some of the biggest names in the game together for an epic 10-day event.
Good, guys.
Fan favourite Chris Moneymaker made an improbable run at redemption, cashing in 11th place and missing out on the final by just 3 spots.
Come on.
Now with the final table finally set, it's time to focus on the last 8 players standing. One of these men will end this evening as the 2011 PCA main event champion. The short stack going into the final is Canadian Philippe Plouffe, who sits with only 3% of the chips in play. In 7th place is Panamanian LAPT standout Bolivar Palacios with just under 2.5 million.
It doesn't matter how short stack I am, I'm gonna always fight until the end.
In 6th position, American Max Weinberg starts off with 7% of the remaining chips. The elder statesman Anton Yanel has just over 3.5 million in chips and has no fear of his much younger opponents.
For me, it doesn't change anything. It's just another dream come true.
In 4th position, Mike Sowers sits with just over 8% of the chips. Poker pro Sam Stein is 3rd and sits in perfect position to finally get that monkey off his back.
This would definitely be sweet. I don't dwell too much on the 2nd place finishes, but nonetheless, I'm competitive and the title means a lot to me.
2nd in chips is the man who took down Moneymaker. Galen Hall has 6.5 million. And with a monster stack in front of him is overwhelming chip leader Chris Oliver, with over 42% of the remaining chips in play.
I feel like I know everybody's playing. I think everybody's just kind of trying to stay out of my way.
He looks unstoppable.
The players are at the table. We're moments away from cards in the air. I'm James Hartigan, joined by the equally excited William Reynolds, and there's the man with the sick chip lead.
Did you go to the party last night?
Yeah, I was there.
What time you stayed up?
I think I went to that club till like 4.
But you gotta keep doing what you were doing, right?
Yeah, it was working.
You shouldn't, yeah. Why would you change it?
Well, I hope he's reasonably well rested. History is not on his side. No chip leader at the PCA final table has ever gone on to win the tournament. The blinds are 50 and 100,000 with a 10K ante. First player to speak, Mike Sowers. He's under the gun and he folds. Max Weinberg passes. Chris Oliver looks down at King Jack offsuit and he calls. I wasn't expecting that.
Either was I. He's throwing the players through a loop. He's mixing up his game.
Sam Stein has ace-king.
Well, Sam Stein will not be limping behind. It's time to isolate the chip leader, something you don't see that often.
So to raise from the cutoff to 335,000, Anton Yanel has folded the button. Philippe Plouffe, the short stack, has queens.
I'm all in.
And he shoves. Galen Hall, with junk in the big blind, will get out of the way. Chris Oliver mucks the King Jack.
I call.
And Sam Stein calls with his ace-king. We have ourselves a race.
Queen. Queen. Ace king.
So Plouffe needs those queens to hold, or we lose our first player from the final table. Here comes the flop. Well, Plouffe's queens are still good, and Stein doesn't have a gut shot working for him. The queen would give Plouffe a full house. Stein needs an ace or a king. Plouffe just has to fade those aces and kings to get a double up. The river is an ace. Stein wins the hand, and Philippe Plouffe is our 8th place finisher. Well, they didn't waste any time. Plouffe got his money in good, but you have to win flips to win tournaments. Philippe Plouffe is our 8th place finisher. He collects $202,000. And Stein gets his stack up to just below 8 million.
Barry Greenstein's book, Ace on the River.
I just did an interview with Barry Greenstein right before the tournament, so that seems kind of fitting, yeah.
Barry's book available in all good bookstores. So that is the trophy they are playing for. The winner is also going to collect $2.3 million. You can see the money jumps. They are huge.
And all of those top 4 spots will be millionaires.
So seven-handed action begins at the final table of the PCA main event, and the blinds are up to 60 and 120,000 with a 15k ante. Galen Hall has ace-king of hearts.
Ace-king's the hand to have thus far at the final table.
He raises under the gun to 255,000. It's folded round to Chris Oliver. Jack-4 goes in the muck. Palacios folds the button. Stein gives up the small blind. Anton Yanel has Jack-10 of diamonds in the big blind.
540,000 in the pot, 135 to call. See a flop.
He has called. They will see a flop. A 5-5 deuce.
This helps nobody. Galen Hall should still feel comfortable with his ace-king high.
It's been checked to him.
He wants to win the pot now. He could just check back with all of his showdown value, but with almost 700,000 in the pot, he decided to win it now.
He c-bets for 220,000, and there is a check raise.
What you have left?
About 2.56.
What is Yanel representing here?
It's difficult to represent any hand on this flop. Yanel is just hoping to fold out overcards. Galen only has ace high, but it's ahead of all non-paired hands.
He has made the call. He'll see a turn card. And he hits his ace on the turn. Yanel might have to give this up. He checks.
It's a wise check out of Yanel.
And Galen Hall checks behind. Queen of diamonds on the river.
For Yanel's sake, I hope he saves his money. But it looks like he's more interested in winning the 1.6 million in the pot.
He is going to bluff this river. A bet of 545,000.
Galen used to play competitive basketball. Let's see if he puts Yanel on an air ball.
You didn't bluff all day once yesterday, did you?
Sorry?
You didn't bluff once yesterday, did you? You never called without a pair. You never check raised.
Accurate analysis from Galen Hall.
Galen has an opportunity to block this shot.
He makes the call.
Anton taps the table.
Yanel shows the bluff. And Galen Hall shows his pair of aces.
Excellent turn check back by Galen. That extracted another 545,000.
Thought you might mix it up a little today.
It's a big game, everything. Almost fold, huh? If ace doesn't come, I win. So
The ace matters a lot less than you think it does.
No?
Yeah. If the club comes, you probably win.
That's what I want to count.
So a great start at this final table for Galen Hall. The 24-year-old displaying his intelligent approach to the game.
This fall, I will be going to Stanford Graduate School of Business. I was the president of my fraternity, living the college life. I ran a small sneaker business, buying and reselling collections of vintage Air Jordans. I've had a couple other entrepreneurial exploits, some which worked, some which failed spectacularly. I didn't really start playing poker a ton until I graduated college. I'm all in, because there's so much other stuff to do. I play 16 tables at once online. It's just a math game online. I played 1 million hands this year. I have $1 million in cashes. I like games. I'm extremely, extremely competitive.
You have to win.
The goal of going to Stanford is to continue my dream of being an entrepreneur. I think poker will take a back burner while I'm at school. But it would be really nice to continue to run good and just win the big one.
Nice hand, nice hand.
That would be pretty nice to have that locked up.
I played live with Galen at the NAPT LA. His overall awareness and willingness to learn more about poker impressed me tremendously.
Back to the action at our final table. Bolivar Palacios folding under the gun. Sam Stein and Anton Yanel have also folded. Galen Hall has Jack-10 offsuit.
And that's good enough to ride the wave.
240.
He min raises. Mike Sowers gives up the button. Max Weinberg, ace-8 offsuit.
Come on.
And he shoves.
With only 7 big blinds, this is the time.
That's not the shirt.
Galen's going to be priced in to make this call.
Call.
Re-raise. Chris folds the
He
big.
will call and put Max Weinberg at risk. Weinberg in front with ace-8. The hole not that far behind with 2 live cards. And his friends know it. Weinberg effectively flipping for his tournament life. His mum watches on.
Tension and silence in the room.
The jack of diamonds. Let's see the flop.
The flop has a 10 on it. Galen Hall takes the lead.
Weinberg drawing really slim, only an ace.
Someone in the crowd calling for a queen. And their wish is granted on the turn, so now Galen Hall has a straight. Weinberg now needs to hit a jack on the river to make a better straight and double up. He has 3 outs, 7%. He needs a jack on the river. He doesn't get it. Weinberg finishes in 7th place for $300,000. And Galen Hall wins another significant pot. Applause for Max Weinberg, just making the PCA main event final tables a huge achievement. His mum will be proud of him.
I had one. Okay.
Huh?
That's what I've told you. I had one with the jack.
Yeah, I didn't want to know that. Just makes it hurt more when it comes.
Galen Hall 3rd in chips with a stack of 7 million.
Yeah, thanks.
6 players remain in the Bahamas, chasing the Caribbean dream.
Welcome back to the PokerStars.com Caribbean Adventure in the Bahamas, where 6 remain at the final table.
And we have another all-in. Bolivar Palacios shoved over the top of Galen Hall's opening raise with King Jack. Hall has called him with ace-4. Palacios is the player at risk. Galen Hall has the best hand. His railing crew wants it to hold. Palacios' fans spent a lot of time making those t-shirts. They want him to hit a king or a jack on the flop. But he doesn't. It's all low cards. Palacios still drawing to 6 outs. The queen on the turn gives him additional outs. He could now hit a 10 for a straight.
A king, a jack, or a 10, or we are down to 5.
It's a 3. Galen Hall KOs another player.
The dream is over for Palacios.
Time to shred those t-shirts, guys. Bolivar Palacios will collect $450,000 for his 6th place finish. Galen Hall's buddies, high five.
Hall up to nearly 10 million in chips.
He is now 2nd on the leaderboard, but still a long way behind Chris Oliver. In fact, Oliver has a 2-1 chip lead over Galen Hall and the rest of the table. Anton Ionel is the short stack. He's done well to ladder up so far. And the blinds are up, 80 and 160,000 with a 20,000 ante. Action is on, Ionel. King 8 offsuit, he'll fold. Galen Hall has passed. Mike Sowers has Queen Jack on the button.
Playable hand.
And he is going to play it. He's going to raise with it. Makes it 340,000.
An unplayable hand.
That won't stop him playing with it. It won't stop him raising with it. 860,000 is the size of the 3-bet.
That was a playable hand before the raise.
Sam Stein clearly thinks it's still playable. He will call Oliver's 3-bet. And Sowers will call as well, meaning that 3 players will go to the flop, and there's already nearly 2.7 million in the pot. Queen 4-6. Sowers has top pair.
Dry flop, he picked up a gut shot, rise to the occasion, grab ammunition, fire at will.
So Oliver does continue for more than $1 million. What's Stein doing?
Well, Stein has called that flop with just king high and a lot of malicious intent to steal the pot. But over to Sowers, who actually has the hand.
And he will call as well. 6 million in the middle. Still 3 players involved in the hand. And there is a pair of 3s for Oliver to go with his gut shot. He's slowed down.
This hand is one clown short of a circus.
So Stein has checked as well, and Sowers checks behind. And there is the straight for Oliver.
That's one free card Sowers is gonna regret.
Oliver will bet the river. 1.87 million. Stein gets out of the way.
Back to Sowers with his top pair. He knows Oliver could have any two cards as he 3-bet pre-flop. That means he could have a straight. Sowers is concerned.
Top pair. Middling kicker.
Sowers is only head of air.
He makes the lay down. And Oliver folds, accidentally revealing the deuce. And he rakes in chips as he's been doing all week.
Nice, Sam. Didn't mean to show the deuce.
Oops. Well, I figured if you're going to show one, then you have to have it.
Chris Oliver consolidates his chip lead. He now has close to 22.5 million. And the title and trophy are in his sights.
I feel like I've been playing like almost perfect the last few days. I've been focused all week. I haven't been sleeping, but it's because I've been thinking back to hands like in my head a lot. I don't feel any pressure being the chip leader. I feel like it's gonna work to my advantage. People are gonna kind of back down from me. Everyone's just kind of trying to stay out of my way and try to move up a lot in the money. I've just heard people saying I'm not gonna I heard someone say I'm not gonna get better than 8th place. There's people on the rail just saying I'm out of my mind. The monkey's in another hand, he's playing every single pot. But whatever, I'm winning every hand too, so it don't matter. But I mean, this will be my first big tournament win live, so obviously huge for me.
Chris Oliver super confident, all but claiming that this tournament is in the bag. There are 4 other poker players in the room who might have a thing or two to say about that. Blinds are still 81.60. Actions on Mike Sowers. Here's a pair of 4s. And he's going to raise. Makes it 340,000. Chris Oliver with junk will 3-bet to 775,000.
Any two, any time. It's difficult to make a pair post-flop. Sowers has a pocket pair. Oliver's just showed down a 2 after 3-betting. I'd go all in and put an end to the hand.
Instead, Sowers calls. And the flop gives Oliver 2 pairs.
Well, it's difficult to make a pair, but 2 pairs looks easy.
Sowers checks.
1-3.
Mike checks.
Oliver bets 1.3 million.
Sowers shouldn't be too concerned about this flop. He has 4s. Only 1 overcard and it's an 8.
I'm all in.
He shoves. Oliver makes the call and puts Mike Sowers at risk. We saw Anton Yanel fold 10-4 in the big blind. And that means Sowers is drawing to just 1 out. The 4 of hearts. He needs to hit it on the turn or river, or we lose another player from the PCA final table. Just a 2% chance of survival. It's not looking sweet for Sowers. He doesn't hit the 1-outer. He's our 5th place finisher.
Chris Oliver has been sleeping with a simple-minded leprechaun, and the dumb luck has rubbed all over him.
Well, the Chris Oliver fan club are happy with the way that hand turned out. Mike Sowers collects $700,000 for his 5th place finish. The rest of the table now guaranteed $1 million. And Chris Oliver's chip lead has just got even more ludicrous. He's now got more than 30 million.
We're down to 4 here at the 2011 PCA main event in the beautiful Bahamas. If you would like to play in an EPT event, go to PokerStars.com. There are qualifiers every day. Here at the PCA, Chris Oliver is still the overwhelming chip leader. In 2nd place, though, is Galen Hall, whose rise began yesterday when he played this huge pot against people's favourite, Chris Moneymaker.
This is the hand of my tournament.
I had just gotten moved to the feature table, which was the feature table because of Chris Moneymaker.
I had the ace-7 of clubs, and I raised under the gun, which I've not done all day long.
And with pocket tens, I clicked it back on him, which is to make the minimum raise.
And you know, I'm putting him on a middle pair, a straight steal, or high cards. I chose in this particular situation to 4-bet. Obviously, I'm hoping to take this down right here and not see a flop with it. But he called.
So the flop was 10, 9, 6 with 2 diamonds, which is gin flop for me.
So I check. If he bets, I'm just gonna be done with the hand. I'm done. He ends up checking behind.
The turn is a 7 of diamonds.
I make a pair on the turn, and he actually goes back and looks at his card. It's a great move by him. It looks like it's going for a diamond check.
So I bet 550K on the turn. He calls me pretty quickly.
The river comes the 4 of clubs.
And as soon as he checks to me, I know I'm good.
And my first instinct is whatever he's gonna bet, I'm going to fold.
And so I kind of hemmed and hawed for a bit, and then
he shoves.
I'm all in.
For 1.7, which really took me back a little bit. Really? I was like, wow, a shove. What's a shove mean?
You can't just ship it. It'll be a little transparent. And he like looked at me and just like pretty quickly called.
I called. He outplayed me. Plain and simple, the shove on the end was brilliant. It was fantastic. I don't shove that river. I don't know a lot of people that do shove that river.
Well, Chris Moneymaker asked Galen Hall to use his chips wisely. He's certainly been doing that today.
How old are you? 21. How about you?
24.
Together you are like... Even old guys like me can win.
Anton Ionel has actually folded his way down to 4 big blinds.
He folds to Sam on the button.
He's in the small blind here. It's been folded to him. And he looks down at jacks. And he moves all in.
I'm all in.
Yes! 845,000.
Galen Hall looks him up with a king.
Galen has king 8 off.
Go, you know.
No one thought he'd be that good.
Finally I get one card.
Patience pays off.
I have an overcard.
No,
He waited and he waited and he waited, and you know what? He earned it.
King ball. I got 30% for sure.
of course, no, you are
I
in
got
front.
100%.
You're in front, believe me.
Have you guys been watching? Do you guys watch poker, dude?
Come on.
Game over.
Can I have a quads now? Because I'm going after that, so.
Galen Hall looking for a king to eliminate Anton Ionel. So far, so good for the Romanian.
Please, don't bring the kings. Let them in the church.
I don't care what it is. Just give me a swag. Give me a 9.
Give him an 8, please. It's okay, I agree that.
Ionel's act of generosity there.
That's okay. It's the
No.
7 of spades.
Give him an 8, please.
Ionel now just has to fade a king on the river. This guy works out he's 93% favorite.
If I'm going to win this spot, I'm going to win the tournament. So, okay.
That's a bold statement. Well, he does win the pot. He will double up. Galen Hall doesn't seem to mind too much. Didn't cost him too many chips.
Ionel doesn't play poker for the money. He thrives on the enjoyment he gets from the game.
He has actually said that if he wins the PCA, he will give the money to charity.
In his own village.
Well, let's see how the final 4 stack up. Even after that double up, Ionel still has fewer than 10 big blinds. Chris Oliver still the huge chip leader with a stack of 26.5 million. Blind still 100, 200. Actions on Galen Hall. He'll muck the 6 deuce. Chris Oliver has ace queen on the button.
I'm not sure what to think when Oliver actually has a hand.
He's raising with it. 475 to play. Ace 9 in the small blind for Sam Stein.
Interesting situation for Stein. He can either just call or 3-bet.
He's taken the aggressive option, re-raising to 1.18 million. Anton Ionel gets out of the way.
You start with Sam? Start with him with like 6'5", maybe 6'6". I'm all in.
All in.
And Oliver shoves.
If Sam Stein calls here, he's going to be drinking Bahama Mamas on the beach with a treasure chest full of $1 million. But he might want to consider Ionel's super short stack and wait for another spot.
It's taking so long. I'm like so sure I have the best hand. I'm still thinking.
You don't.
But 99% of the time, you would.
Oliver's range is wide.
I call.
And that's why Stein makes the call.
Oh, wow.
Sees the bad news.
He sees the top of Oliver's range here.
Chris, ace-9 of hearts for Sam.
The crowd in disbelief. This is an incredible hand. It's an amazing spot for Anton Yanel. If Sam Stein's eliminated here, he's guaranteed third place prize money. That's an extra $350,000. Stein will need to see a 9 or some hearts, or he's gone. Running hearts or 9s, those are his outs. He's going to be thinking about this call for some time to come if he's not able to hit. Well, that king of diamonds on the turn kills the heart draw, but it does bring about a split pot possibility. Stein will survive with a 9, 10, or 5 on the river.
Let's see the river card.
But it's a 3, the board bricks out. Oliver's hand holds, and Stein finishes in 4th. He is a dollar millionaire, but understandably, he's not thinking about that right now.
Again, luck.
Anton Yanel has laddered his way into 3rd place. He's still in contention for the title along with Chris Oliver and Galen Hall. But the Romanian is still short-stacked and will be looking for an opportunity to get his last remaining chips across the line.
But at least I didn't make myself to be ashamed here. Not before I don't take it Gale out.
What do you have against me?
I want to play the heads up, that's why it's nothing with you.
You can play heads up against me.
No.
Just double like 5 times.
No, I want to quiz a lot, so I have to play with him.
Given the choice, I think Chris would rather play Anton heads up. Galen Hall has the button here. He's first to speak. King, queen off. Raising, 425,000 to play. Ace 5 for Chris Oliver.
Oliver has been taking the aggressive route with all of his hands today, but he just calls here, wants Yanel to come along.
Yanel giving it some thought.
I'm all in.
He decides the time is now.
Hall is opening a wide button range. To say Oliver plays a wide range is an understatement. Yanel might as well jam all in with the wide range.
Decision is with Hall, knowing that Oliver is direct behind.
Should I count?
He calls.
A fold.
An insta-fold from Oliver.
Oh, thank God. That would have just been a nightmare.
Ace 5 off. Hearts. Ace 5 of hearts.
And Yanel's in horrible shape here. A dominated king.
He's going to need a lot of help to make it to that heads-up battle.
There are still 5 cards to come, and crazier things have happened.
He does have spades working for him.
6. Quinta. Bine, hai, 6, hai.
And Galen Hall knowing that if his king-queen holds up, he will go heads up against Chris Oliver for the title, the trophy, and the $2.3 million first prize. Yanel in great spirits. Even though Hall's hit his queen on the flop, the Romanian now needs running cards.
Yes, give me an 8 and a 10.
He knows what he needs.
Apus dama. Ce să mai facem now?
Anton's looking for some help on the turn.
Maybe on the audience, because on the turn it's no chance.
He could be drawing dead on the turn.
Trebuie să faci chestia aia, Riga.
But a 5 brings the obligatory sweat.
Give me the 8, please.
An 8 would give him the straight.
8, baby. How long are you gonna make us wait? 8, sweetie.
If it's not an 8, we go heads up here at the PCA.
Anton's gonna need an 8 on the river in order to make a straight and double.
An 8 and I will going to win the tournament, believe me.
Is it to be for Anton Yanel?
8, please.
No, it isn't. He managed to ladder up into 3rd place. He wins himself $1.35 million. Galen Hall's crew know that their boy is going to go heads up now against Chris Oliver. Hall's going to have his work to do because Oliver still has a very impressive chip lead. And so we go heads up here in the Bahamas. Either Galen Hall or Chris Oliver will join the distinguished list of past champions, including the enigmatic Gus Hansen and Bertrand Elke Gropellier. Who will be this year's winner? It's the final stage of the PCA main event.
Speaking from experience, playing heads up on this grand stage is a unique moment in a poker player's career.
They're both going to be feeling the pressure. Chris Oliver has more than a 2-to-1 chip lead over Galen Hall. 34 million, plays 12.6 million.
We shouldn't have eliminated everybody so fast.
That is kind of the aim of the game.
Should have kept the Romanian guy in. He was good for TV.
He had his 15 minutes of fame. Blind still 100,000, 200,000 with a 20k ante. Galen Hall on the button has posted the small blind and is first to speak. Looks down at 8-4 offsuit.
You can widen your range heads up and raise almost any 2 cards profitably from the button.
He's made it 450,000. Oliver has ace deuce in the big blind. He'll make the call.
Chris makes the call.
And we will see a flop. The flop is 3-5 deuce. It's an up and down straight draw for Hall. Oliver still leads with a pair of 2s and a gut shot straight draw.
This is a good flop for Hall to continuation bet.
Oliver is checked to him. Hall makes a C bet of 575,000.
Oliver won't be going anywhere.
Makes the call. The turn is the 2 of hearts. Trip 2s now for Oliver. Hall still has the straight draw. Oliver checks a second time.
He checks the best turn card in the deck so Hall can fire again.
But Hall checks behind.
Let's see the river card.
Hall makes a straight on the river, but Oliver has a full house.
The absolute worst card in the deck for Hall as he makes a wheel. How much money is he gonna lose is the real question.
Oliver sets the trap. He checks to him.
What a trap indeed. He's just praying his opponent has a 4, as he does.
Hall makes a value bet with his straight of 2 million.
That is a full pot size bet. Now it's gonna be back on Oliver. He is contemplating exactly how much he can check raise. Galen Hall has 9.5 million chips behind. There are 4 million chips in the pot.
Come on.
Chris Oliver shoves on Galen Hall. He's trying to end it here.
As wild as Oliver is, it's still highly unlikely he ever shows up with the stone cold bluff. If Oliver was bluffing, he could have made a standard check raise rather than the all-in.
Can Galen Hall get away from this?
Only if he dismisses the idea of Oliver turning missed diamonds or a pair into a bluff and interprets this all-in overbet as a pure value bet to end it all.
Oliver praying for a call.
That is a large bet.
Large, it's twice the pot.
If Galen Hall calls here with his straight, the tournament is over and Chris Oliver has won the 2011 PCA.
Oliver's image is telling Hall to call, call, call.
But something in his gut is telling him it doesn't add up, it's not right. And he makes the laydown! Galen Hall gets away from the straight. That is an amazing fold.
Since he realized he was chopping the pot at best, he cut his losses and made a spectacular fold.
Chris Oliver's fans applaud him. They don't know he wanted the call there.
Good fold, Galen. Good fold.
Thanks, guys.
Galen Hall's friends have no idea how good a fold that was. He's down to below 10 million in chips, but he's still alive. He's still in with a chance. And the heads-up battle continues here in the Bahamas at the PokerStars.com Caribbean Adventure.
It was the hand analysts will talk about for years to come. It was a battle of wills. It started slow enough, but like a great heavyweight fight, the momentum started to build. Who was trying to set up whom? The river should have been checkmate as Galen hit the straight and bet into Oliver's full boat.
Come on.
But Galen wasn't ready to go home just yet.
That is a large bet.
And somehow laid it down.
Good fold, Galen. Good fold.
A great decision there, but over the next 70 hands, Galen dropped another 2 million. So as we rejoin the action, he needs nothing short of a miracle to get back into this epic heads-up battle.
The blinds are up to 120 and 240,000. The ante is 20,000.
You ever played heads up for this much?
First and third Saturday of every month.
What's that?
Yeah.
Great answer from Galen Hall. Completely over Chris Oliver's head. Hall has queens on the button. And he's raising to 525.
All right, step one for Chris Oliver. Fold pre-flop.
525.
Galen raises, makes
He can't hear you. He makes the call. And we go to the flop with more than 1 million chips in the middle. Hall's queen's still good, both players with up and down straight draws. Oliver checks. Hall makes a continuation bet.
Step two for Oliver, fold the flop.
He still can't hear you, and he calls once again, 650,000 apiece. And Oliver pairs his 6 on the turn. He checks a second time. Galen Hall bets a second time for 1.3 million.
Step three for Oliver, fold the turn.
He still can't hear you. He calls again.
Defying the odds.
9 on the river, pairs the board. Neither of the straight draws got there. Hall's queens are good.
If Oliver puts one more chip in the pot, he should seriously consider placing all of his winnings in the bank and find a new profession.
I'm all in.
Galen Hall shoves. 5.59 million.
What is that? How much?
Does it matter?
6.
He's never calling here.
We're talking about Chris Oliver. You cannot predict the unpredictable.
I call.
Oh my heavens, he's called!
Oh, really?
And he mucks disgustingly. Did you really think your 6 was good?
Well, he made a hero call to end it all, and it was wrong.
Give it up, Galen.
That's a value bet.
Yeah, it is.
And you have to wonder if Chris Oliver's greedy shove with his full house earlier has tilted him. He's also showing signs of exhaustion right now. This has been a long final table. They've played 184 hands. Galen Hall still has a lot of work to do. It's still 36.5 million, plays 10 million near enough. Both players pretty deep, with the blinds going up to 150 and 300,000 with a 25k ante.
The ante is 5,000 chips short of one $10,000 starting stack.
Galen Hall feels he's in this for the long haul, so it's time to get comfy. He's going to be first to speak here, on the button, in the small blind. Ace deuce.
He raises to 650,000.
Makes it 650,000. 4 deuce for Chris Oliver.
A fair hand to 3-bet or just call and defend.
Chris makes the call.
He elects to call. We'll go to the flop.
650 each. Let's see the flop, please.
And Chris Oliver will check in the dark. Does that move ever work for anyone?
I'm not a big fan.
Ace, deuce, 4, 2 pairs for both players.
It may have worked here if his opponent didn't also smash this flop.
Galen Hall counting out chips for a continuation bet. He throws in 675,000.
Great spot for a check raise. If your opponent has an ace, you're going to get paid. If he doesn't, you're going to win the pot now.
There is the raise. He makes it 1.5 million.
1,570,000.
Hall may just call here if he puts Oliver on a bluff.
Looks like he's going to raise again. It's a 3-bet to 2.675 million.
1.1 million.
And how many bets will it take to get it all in?
675,000.
You got like 3. You got more.
2 stacks of white.
2 stacks of white. So.
Oliver debating to just re-raise or go all in.
Raise.
Chris announces raise.
How much is the raise going to be?
2.2 is a man, right?
2.2 total, yeah.
He's going to click it back.
Another 1.1 million.
My favorite raise in poker.
That's what we do, right?
Full buttons on the left, Chris.
It's a bit late for that.
I'm all in.
All in, re-raise.
An all-in and an insta-call. Oliver proudly shows his two pairs, and Hall shows the better two pairs.
Galen Hall has demonstrated excellent perseverance this entire heads-up battle.
He gets his money in good. Chris Oliver drawing pretty thin. He has two outs right now, one of the remaining fours in the deck. Galen Hall set for a double up, which will give him nearly 20 million in chips. The ace of spades gives Chris Oliver additional outs. Now any spade or any four will give him the win.
In order to double through here.
There's a 25% chance that he'll seal the deal in this hand. But no, Galen Hall will get the double up.
Yeah. You go, Galen.
High fives around.
And now they're going to be pretty even. 27 million plays 19 million.
Total all-in was 6,325,000.
Galen Hall looking pretty calm and collected right now, as that huge pot is shipped across to him. He's certainly getting the better of Chris Oliver right now. The guy has been such a dominant chip leader for so long. He said this tournament is his to lose. He's still in front. Can he regroup? Can he refocus? Can he still seal the deal? He looks down at ace-9 from the button.
That's a good way to get it started. A solid ace heads up.
He's raising. He pops it up to 750,000 kings for Hall.
And now the cards just aren't going Oliver's way either. Galen Hall is going to re-raise this.
Question is how much, and how Oliver will respond to that raise.
1,950,000 is the re-raise.
Nearly 2 million.
4-3 total.
And without thinking, Chris Oliver 4 bets to 4.3 million.
Galen Hall has his victim right where he wants him.
$7.7.
There's the 5 bet, 7.7 million.
All
in, re-raise.
An all-in and a call. The wheels seem to have come off for Chris Oliver.
Kings for Galen.
He's all in and way behind.
King.
Galen Hall is 71% favorite to take a huge chip lead in this heads-up battle.
18, 18-6, 18-7.
Oliver looking for an ace. No help from on that flop.
8 of hearts, 3 of diamonds, 7 of diamonds.
3 outs in the deck.
It took an entire 6 bets to get this all in pre-flop. Let's see a turn.
It's the 4 of spades. 7% equity now for Chris Oliver. If he does spike an ace on the river, he wins the tournament. He wins the PCA.
9.
But Galen Hall is a huge favorite to get the double up and take control.
One time, using it right here, using one time.
He's used this one time and it works. The queen is a blank.
Chris Oliver has ignored the speed limit all tournament long. Hall just pulled him over and issued a citation for nearly 20 million chips.
Chris Oliver's had the chip lead for every single hand at this final table, and he's just lost it. Now Galen Hall has him on the ropes.
As the heads-up battle continued, Galen lost a little, but held on to his 3-1 chip lead.
Blinds still 150 and 300,000. Galen Hall has posted the small blind. And he will look down at ace-8 of clubs.
He will continue to push the action here and raise his button.
Is a min raise to 600,000.
Now over to Chris Oliver.
Where's queens?
He has a huge hand for heads up. He has just over 30 big blinds.
He's going to re-raise. The 3 bet is 1.4 million.
I'm all in.
All in,
Galen Hall shoves on him. Chris Oliver makes the call.
Ace-8 of clubs.
Will it be Chris Oliver who makes the comeback?
Oliver, better than a 2-1 favorite to get the double up here. Galen Hall,
Ace.
looking for that ace.
One time? I'm not going to use the one.
To become the PCA main event champion. He's used his one time already. But the dealer's kind to him. He gets an ace and an 8 on the flop. And now it's Chris Oliver who needs to hit to survive. He said this tournament was his to lose. He's on the verge of losing it. He needs to see a queen on the river, or we have a winner here in the Bahamas. A 5% chance of survival for Chris Oliver. He needs to see a queen, or it's over. No queen! Aces and kings, the winning hand for Galen Hall, the champion of the 2011 PCA main event. A long final table, an epic heads-up battle. Chris Oliver gets $1.8 million as runner-up. Galen Hall will lift the trophy and collect $2.3 million. David beat Goliath, an amazing performance from a talented poker player.
After 5 grueling days, we were down to 8. When we started, Chris Oliver had almost half the chips in play, and the tournament was surely his to lose. One by one, players' dreams were dashed, but during Heads Up, we witnessed the best laydown in the history of the PCA. The tables turned and the inconceivable became a reality. Yeah! Galen Hall defied all odds and became the 2011 PCA main event champion.
Galen, you've bested the largest field in PCA main event history. You must be feeling amazing right now.
Yeah, it feels really good. It's a really tough final table and an extremely long, difficult heads-up match. And put in a ton of effort into this game, and it was a pretty awesome payoff.
Congratulations to you.
A deserving champion. Well, it's time to say goodbye.